Breaker, breaker into the black. This is Long Hole Preacher, and I ain't going back. I'm a long hole preacher, and I'm just passing through with a few words of wisdom while we're taking in the view. Surprise, yes, yet another podcast in as many days, but I took one look at the letter that just came out from Chris Roberts and the Cloud Imperium team and decided I needed to say something. They are very much trying to work in a defensive mode because of how far behind they are compared to where they want to be and where players have expected them to be. What am I talking about? Well, if you're not involved with Star Citizen yet, this is an idea years in the making since the epic Kickstarter campaign that blew the doors off any other Kickstarter campaign. It continues to be crowdfunded in a lot of ways, slowly transitioning to a full retail form as it gets built. There is a reason people are angry, yet look at what Team Roberts is trying to do from the point of view of an entrepreneur. Let me use a small example from my own life, and I'm going to mix a bunch of jobs up in one story just to attempt to protect the guilty parties involved. Yes, if you are related to me, now might be a good time to stop this video because you might get pissed off. The job for the fledgling company full of family members, my in-laws, to build something. Well, at first it sounded like we were going to do it all as fellow employees, each one doing their own special thing to make it happen, but then several things got in the way called egos. No, I'm not talking about pride, believe it or not. If it was, well, it might not have turned out so bad. What I'm talking about instead is greed. You see, the company was owned by me and my wife on paper, was assumed to be owned by also my mother-in-law, though I did not know this, and in theory, had 3 job managers doing the bidding and managing of all the government contracts using, yes, government engineers. You can tell at this point that I have a real problem with many of these factors. Well, the engineering plans were crap. The management decided to subcontract and hire their own kids, who in turn worked like government workers stereotypically do. Oh, quick joke here. What's big and orange and sleeps 6? A DOT rig. Anyway, then there were the added expenses and time of folk who had to be hired to fix what was not done right the first time. And as the guy owning the company, I was out there even in the dead of night, in rain, alone trying to keep it on schedule. What does this have to do with Chris Roberts? Well, as you heard me say since November, he seems a bit more stressed, shall we say. The smile that is normally easygoing turning into a mask on his face, and in December the entire team started looking similar. And now we know a little, just a little, of why from his letter. While the focus on the team's video is on the incredible size and scope of keeping the development going of an entire universe, the letter has tidbits that speak to one problem I know all too well, and I quote, "We had originally hoped to deliver most of the Stanton landing zones with the first release of planetary tech, but that proved optimistic once the talented team at Behavior, who had built ArcCorp, Levski, Grim Hex, and had begun work on the remaining landing zones of Stanton, moved off Star Citizen and on to another Behavior project in December." Yes, they have been using contractors to get things done faster. The upside of using contractors, as Chris Roberts points out, is that you can do more with fewer actual employees. While CIG has been working on hiring more people, expanding labs, and all that, they still admit they could use even more talented developers to keep this going. This is a huge project. To put it in a way you might be able to understand. If a single company, if a single company can build a single-player game, as a construction company can build, say, a house or a building on its own, a very large company making your average MMO might need a few contractors to help, as a similar construction company may, say, hire contractors for plumbing and electrical and other specialties to build a subdivision, a mall, or even a town. Now imagine this analogy on the scale of Cloud Imperium. They're not building a single-player game involving a few locations or even a small world. They're not building an MMO, which might feature a host of instances and 2 or 3 worlds. They are building a universe. And the company itself runs 24 hours a day around the world from 4 major and who knows how many minor or subcontracted labs around the world, coordinating efforts on a global scale to do this. That, quite simply, is not easy. And frankly, we as the consumers are getting off cheap for such a large effort. Yet, even with the setbacks posed by subcontractors, Chris Roberts is setting a very ambitious timeline. And I quote again, Star Citizen 3.0 Alpha is just the first step, though. We've decided to share our longer roadmap through the rest of the year so you can have visibility on what parts of the Stanton system come online and when, along with associated gameplay. Our plan is to have 2 more releases in the live branch of Star Citizen this year after 3.0 that fill out the Stanton system beyond what we outlined last year. If he means what he is saying, that means everything up to, but not including the jump points out of the Stanton system, is what they are aiming for by the end of this year. Considering the setbacks and the bugs and the retreats and the reevaluations, this is huge. This is big. I can't understate that enough. Well, that's enough of jabbering on and defending Chris Roberts and his team. I'd like to finish off on a highly positive note by going over what to expect with the release of 3.0 now slated for late June. It looks like June 29th, if all holds to schedule. What they are mainly talking about for careers.
Trade.
Load up, strap in, and get trucking, folks, because it's a long haul time. While there is currently no plan for the heavy haulers like the whole series of ships to be released at the same time, we can expect it to come pretty quick after. Meanwhile, fire up the light loaders like the Aurora, Freelancer, and Reliant and load up cargo and haul. It also means there'll be plenty of jobs out there for gunners and pilots for protection of cargo convoys. For families, I recommend the Freelancer out of the 3. And the reason is it has a turret for a gunner, and someone can keep track of shields and power while the pilot flies. So that's a good 3 people can be working on board a Freelancer as opposed to the single-person Aurora or the double-person Reliant.
Mining.
As an owner of the Prospector, the single-man mining ship, I can tell you I am excited about this. Get out and start seeking out a claim. Fill in the saddlebags with valuables, but watch out for claim jumpers. The Prospector will be out, though the Orion is not slated for 3.0. This is a jump from the previous schedule, but I have my doubts this means Orion will be close on its wings because it is such a large undertaking. Now, for families, yes, the Prospector is a single-person ship. This is a disappointment, in my opinion, although it does make sense. You don't need more than one person to do a mining ship, unless, of course, you have some kind of a turret on it to protect the mining ship, which it does not. The Freelancer is not large enough to pick up the saddlebags either, so think towards 2 ships still. But the other one is probably going to be more of a gun ship for high protection. Other than that, for families, go back to trade for now. It's easier on the family life. Trust me.
On the horizon.
Also on schedule is repair and refueling. This is primarily for the AI to deal with rather than the players, especially since they will now be starting the use of insurance in testing phase as well. Time to put limitations on those ships beyond whether or not they are allergic to explosive ammo. And that's it for now. Just wanted to soapbox in favor of Team Roberts and their push for 3.0 and beyond. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I can't wait to see what they come up with next. Until then, keep the flight suit sealed, your cargo bay full, and your family close as we explore family fun together. God bless. A man's made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bones. A mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons, and what do you get? You get another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. I was born one morning when the sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I went to the mine. I loaded 16 tons of number 9 coal, and the straw boss said, well, bless my soul, you load 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older.